Yes, indeed, and a good night to all of you listeners. Yeah, I hope that you all are hearing me clearly. I've been having a problem. Yes, indeed, and a good night to all. Yeah, that's my background here, so I know that you all are hearing me clearly. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, I am not getting my audio either through my clips machine or through my music machine. I'm not getting the audio coming through very clear, but I am coming through very clear, I believe, on the microphone. I think you all are hearing me very clearly here, but I am not sure what's happening with the other two. It seems as though that channel is having a problem. Luckily, I already have the replacement for it en route. It's not here yet, but the replacement for it is already en route. Yeah, but I hope it doesn't affect our Monday night program, because for some reason I really don't know what is happening with the mixer tonight. It just refuses to play the audio. The background audio is not playing at all. Even now, if I try to play it there, I know that you all are barely hearing it here. I don't know what's going on there. And it's not the machine that I'm playing it from. It is the mixer itself that's giving that problem, and I am not sure why. Yeah, I've been trying to see why it is giving that problem, and I can't find what the issue is. Yeah, I can't find what the issue is, why that is happening. So I'll try to sort that out over the weekend. But in the interim, a special good night to each and every one of you. Once again, it is Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'm here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. And even though still getting some static on the line as well, man. All of that is sort of throwing me off. And it may make me actually finish a bit earlier than I planned to finish tonight, if it continues like that. It also means I may not be able to take the calls. I may not be able to take the calls, because I know the calls are coming through the machine with the music, and if I'm not hearing it properly, I could tell you it's going to be a problem. Yeah, it's going to be a problem tonight. So I'm trying to solve the other issues. Let me see if I could get that part sorted out. Yeah, that mixer seems to have made its day. Yeah, don't worry, I already have another, as I said, I already have another one on the way. But it seems as though this one decides he's giving problems tonight. So I'm trying with it, hoping that it works properly, hoping that we can get through a program tonight with it. I'm trying my very best. So yeah, let's go. And a special good night to each and every one of you. Hope that you all had a fabulous night. Again, we want to once again, oh boy, yeah, that is annoying. Believe me, it is annoying, and I don't want to abandon the program. Unless, and let's just say here, if I'm abandoning the program now because we're having that static coming through, and everything I'm doing, nothing seems to be working to solve that issue. If I abandon the program now, we're going to have to do the program on Sunday night. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it on Sunday night. And it seems as though I may have to go that direction. I really wanted to do the show tonight, but the mixer is giving me all sorts of static. It is not bringing through my audio. Yeah, you hear it? It's not bringing through my audio properly. No matter what setting I have it on, it's not bringing through my audio properly. And as such, I may very well have to abandon the show for tonight. I did promise I would do the show tonight, so I may have to do the show on Sunday night instead if it continues like this. But let's see. Yeah, I'm trying my very best to see how I can get it to work. But folks, just remember, let me stop this in the background here. Folks, just a reminder that tomorrow it will be happening. That's in Brooklyn. Yeah, let me just see if I can get it here. Yeah. Folks, let me hear from you all. Should I fight up and try to continue? I'm hearing the static on my end. It does not necessarily mean you're hearing the static on your end. Are you hearing the static? Is it putting you all off? Should I cancel and try to do it on Sunday night instead? Let me know what I should do. I don't want to make the decision on my own that I'm just going to, people pay for this program. Yeah, I don't want to just abandon it because, several people donated towards having the program tonight. So I don't just want to abandon it. But again, you all, you are hearing the static in and between. You all are hearing it. We are having an issue in relation to our audio tonight. There is an audio issue that is coming across tonight. We're not getting our audio from, so if I play a clip, it doesn't make any sense trying to play clips. You all will not hear anything. Yeah? You all will not hear the clips. If I try to play the clips, you all will not hear that. So it does not make a sense me trying to play clips and all that tonight. Right? But let me give you all a reminder. Yeah, because several activities happened and happening. So remember on Sunday, on Sunday, there's going to be that community walkabout that's taking place in St. John. The Honorable Alvin Dabrio, he will be out there, having that walkabout in St. John. Don't know what zombie in my system tonight. I really don't know what zombie in my system tonight. Somebody tell me they're hearing me without a problem. Yeah, you're hearing me, but you wouldn't hear the music, and so if I try to play it, so I just had to talk tonight. Yeah, so I'm fighting up and trying to go through, but if you're getting the static and you all believe I should end, let me know. All right, nice. Yeah. So as I said, we have the, and let me just pull this up here so you all can see exactly what I'm speaking about. We have that meeting not meeting, but a meet and greet that's going to be taking place on Sunday, all right? And that is going to be taking place in Granroy and surrounding communities. That's taking place on Sunday, and it starts from 2 p.m. That's the Honorable Alvin Dabrio. He will be out there interacting with you, the various members of the community. You can speak to him, let him know some of the things that are going on, some of the things that you want to see taking place. Just let him know that you're there, you're supporting. Yeah? Or let him know what he needs to do for you to be one of the people supporting. So that is taking place this Sunday. That is in Granroy and surrounding communities, Mount Plaisir, all those areas, they right nice. Honorable Alvin Dabrio will be passing through on this Sunday. Yeah? And remember the breakfast and lunch, that's taking place tomorrow. That starts from around 6 a.m. and that's going to be taking place in St. Andrew Northeast at the Birch Grove Community Center. All right, so it starts from about 6 a.m. is the time I got, about 6 a.m. So looking forward to seeing you all at that one. And I'll have to hold on the calls because I'm telling you all, this system is giving so much problems that if I try to take the call, look, somebody's calling now. Usually you'd hear that ringing loud. Right now you can barely hear it. Yeah, the system is not working properly when it comes to taking calls, so I do apologize. We won't be able to take the calls. All right? Yeah, an Exquisite affair that is taking place tomorrow night up there at 1963 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11234 from 9 p.m. DJs Jude and Small Clothes, tickets only $100, and of course attire formal. All right, an evening of elegant style and class with the new national party, and that will be taking place tomorrow night. Why this person could do that? This person, you understand, on air? Yeah, and I can't even say I'm going and put on a piece of audio to thing, you know. Yeah, so anybody message me, please, if you've got a message me. There's no way I can take the call. I'm very sorry about that. Yeah, I can't take the calls. Nice. I cannot take the calls. So send a message. All right. Nice. So Exquisite affair, that's going to be taking place there. Let me see. Most likely, I wonder if it is a situation where people are not hearing. Yeah, some people are saying they're hearing loud and clear. Nice. Yeah, loud and clear. Let me see. Loud and clear. That right. Let me see over on the YouTube. Okay, people saying all for now. Yeah, stay and talk. We listening. All right. Okay, nice. Okay. Yeah, all you can't call me on the mobile. One thing, folks, I have a unwritten rule ever since I've been doing hard talk and so on and talk your talk and so. I generally do not take calls on my personal mobile during the show. If you have to send a message, yeah. So I try to avoid that as much as possible, because sometimes it throws you off totally. So just send a message. Once you know the number, you should have, well, you could just WhatsApp me on the same number. So yes, so an exquisite affair, that's taking place tomorrow. And in attendance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, the chairman of the New National Party, Senator the Honorable Norland Cox, deputy political leader of the New National Party, and the Honorable Emlyn Pierre. They will all be in attendance tomorrow. That is at an exquisite affair. All right, so looking forward to that one as well. All right, nice. And yeah, just remember the ticket's only $100. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you may want to check with one of the following persons: Aisha Oliver at 917-520-3164, Kathy Albert at 347-262-6818, Wendy Maguire 917-607-1476, PD Francis 917-642-7187, and Sharon Caesar at 862-234-0879. That's an exquisite affair taking place tomorrow at the Carriacou Hall, 1963 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11234. All right, tickets only $100. And next week, Saturday, there's the breakfast and barbecue luncheon of the St. George Northeast constituency branch of the New National Party. They will be having that activity taking place there at the Bourgeois playing field from 7 a.m. until. Music and drinks on sale, only $20 for the tickets, starting from 7 a.m. And remember, listen, folks, I really need your support in relation to this one. There are some things that I've developed there. Right, nice, yes. So we really need your support. Corp Bank, Kelanni George, account number 107063547. Nexa Credit Union, Melian Francois, 221-553-100. All right? No, the child hasn't gotten more. But there are things that have to be done, and the time is short. All right, so Kelanni George, only 4 years old. She has had a Wills tumor. The first part of the thing has been done, but remember, she now has a Mediport that has to be removed, so she has to return to the United States and so. All right? Yes, indeed, folks. So we have those activities. No, I can't go to that one because, yeah, you would not be able to hear it. Venezuela said they're hearing loud and clear. Agatha Williams, good night to you, my dear. Hope that you are having a fabulous, fabulous night tonight, Agatha. All right, nice. Yes, indeed, folks. So we have those various activities coming up. Make sure you support. I'm hoping that many of you who are listening tonight will also be going out to the Exquisite Affair tomorrow night. Yeah, man, if you want to put on your tuxedo, you're looking for the excuse to put on your tuxedo and thing, you could put it on and head on out. You know, you're nice, yeah, your Gideon boots and your three-piece suit, yeah. Well, it's a khaki suit, but yeah, you can head on out tomorrow night to that activity. And let me just see here, I think, yeah, my good friend out there in New York, yeah, he's hearing me loud and clear. And yeah, folks, as I tell you, I can't take the calls there. I can't take the calls direct. I can't take the calls on the WhatsApp either, and I'm seeing the WhatsApp is actually more busy than ever. Now that I can't take the calls, it's actually more busy than ever. So I want to say, and everybody telling me, hey, I'm hearing you without a problem. Stay, we hearing you. Okay, I stay. I might not stay for the full time, but I stay. You could see, you who know me personally, know that I'm tired today. Yeah, today was a rough one. So you can see that I'm tired today. Yes, indeed, folks. And yeah, we have quite a few things we need to speak about tonight. And let me put this mouse there. That mouse throwing me off, man. And let me see. No, even if people send a voice note, I would not be able to play it because all of it, for some reason, and let me explain what's happening here. For some reason, the channel, I'm using a very small mixer, a very, very small mixer for the program for tonight. The mixer that I'm using is over 10 years old. And for some reason, the channel on which I usually bring in like the Zoom calls and the audio for the music and the audio for the clips, that channel has decided that he gone bye-bye tonight. Yes, so it is messing me up in a big way. Yes, so that is how that's the problem that I'm having here tonight. But I'll try to solve it over the weekend. I'll take it apart and try and solve it myself over the weekend. I do have another mixer. Luckily, I got another mixer. Within the last 2 weeks, I sought and got another mixer. That mixer should be in anytime within the next 48 to 72 hours, hopefully, so that we won't have this problem on Monday night. I wouldn't like it to be a situation on Monday night that I have to come in and we can't play clips, anything, we just have to talk. So hopefully I could have that sorted out by Monday night or sometime early next week. So no, they can't send voice notes. It's going to be the same issue if they send voice notes. All right, folks? Yes, indeed. So I continually hear the National Democratic Congress speaking about the pension issue, and they keep making all sorts of statements, all sorts of weird statements in relation to pension. Claiming pension as something an achievement that they have made in their term in office and so on. And the thing is that is not true. There was a court case, and if anybody has to be praised for pension payments, there are only two groups of people that have to be praised for pension payment. And those two groups of people do not include Deacon Mitchell and the National Democratic Congress. The two groups of people are the Public Workers Union and the people that they put forward, like Ms. Armstrong and so, who brought the case against government of Grenada, and the New National Party administration, who did not challenge the judgment of the courts when the judgment came down in relation to the pension issue. Yeah? And remember, the government was taken to court not during the period of the New National Party. It was taken to court during the period of the last NDC administration. Under the New National Party administration, the case was allowed to progress. At the end of the case, the New National Party did not challenge, they did not appeal the judgment that came down in relation to pension. What does that mean? The New National Party administration had the opportunity where they could have gone back, appealed the judgments of the court in relation to the pension issue, and they were significant. What's up with this phone tonight? Yeah, what's really up with this phone tonight? Let's just take it off and done. Yeah, because it's becoming an annoyance now. Everything giving problems tonight, you see? Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to the pension issue, there was a judgment by the court. The judgment told the government, hey, you've got to pay, and you've got to pay these people at this quantum, all this kind of thing. It didn't say the total amount, because government then, the New National Party administration, began the process even before the elections of one, setting up a secretariat. So you set up an office, then you start to get your documentation on all the people that need to be paid. So all the people who qualify for that pension, the 1958 pension. So that process had started even before the general elections. And government was collecting the information. So people would come in and say, well, okay, I worked in this department. I was a full-time public servant between this period and this period, and therefore I qualify, so that government could then make a calculation based on that person's salary of how much money they are supposed to get. Yeah? They could make that calculation and say, well, okay, this person has to get 14,000. This person has to get 30-something thousand, 40-something, 50-something $1,000. based on the calculations. That process started not when NDC came in, that process started before the general election. After the general election, the process was completed. So the NDC came in, and they talk about establishing a secretariat that was already established and all of that, and you got the information in, and people were paid. Number one, the monies to pay the people were not monies that the NDC put together, were not monies that the NDC went and borrowed some way, was not monies that some foreign agency gave in a grant to Grenada and said, pay your pensioners. It was money that was in the consolidated fund. It was money that was there because of the prudent economic management of the new National Party administration. The Minister of Finance in the beginning was Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, and then you had the Honorable Gregory Bowen coming in as Minister of Finance. So you didn't have a situation where there was no money. So you come in and you make a promise and you say, we're going to pay the pensioners. And then when you come in, there is no money to pay the pensioners. Yeah? There was no situation like that. So in order to have the money to pay the pensioners in the first place, that is not an achievement at Deacon Mitchell and the NDC. At the point in time that the new National Party was in charge of the affairs of Grenada and ensuring that that money was put there to be able to pay the pensioners and to do various other capital projects, etc., and recurrent expenditure, all of that for the government of Grenada. At the point of time the NNP was doing that, Deacon Mitchell was in legal practice. One, selling passports. Two, and nothing is wrong with him selling passports and thing then, but now as Prime Minister, he ain't supposed to be doing that, Papa? Nice, right. So one, selling passports, and two, being the person who was representing big business against the average Grenadian. He wasn't there fighting for no pension on behalf of Grenadians. So when the NDC comes and tries to make it look as though pension is something, an achievement of the NDC, any sensible person, so we know who the people who does says NDC do that are, any sensible person, any reasonable person, any honest person would say immediately, NDC had nothing to do with that. The government of Grenada, not the NDC, this is not money that came out of the NDC party funds. This came out of the government of Grenada. That was money that was put there by the new National Party administration. And the intention was to pay the pensioners, not one go as the NDC paid. That's the only difference. They paid in one go, they just give them all the money, and now you're hearing about who can get paid and who can't get paid and all kind of thing. And they even paid people who got paid the last time that the new National Party made pension payments. And again, because many people seem to forget that somewhere back about 2017 or so, that the new National Party paid millions in pension payments to various categories of people that had qualified for pension. They paid retroactive, and those people went onto the pension list. When this NDC administration came in some instances, not in all, in some instances, those people who had already received the pension payments back then received the payment again. That is why we had been saying that some people got over the amount of money that they were supposed to get. Because the NDC administration came in, doing like the NNP never did anything, and paid the same people who were paid in that first tranche of payments there, went and paid these same people again, money again. Not all of them, some of them got the same amount of money again that they got from during the period of the new National Party. So we have this situation where the NDC keeps putting this thing forward, like they are the ones who come, and we paid the pension, and we promised it. There was a court order, and I'll find the court order, but the way the system is working right now, it is giving a problem, and somebody's telling me it have an echo and so on, but yeah. So the way that these operatives are getting on, because you heard them, and let me just remove this, yeah. You heard them speaking about the issue of the fowl farm. And we have been able to prove here, without a shadow of a doubt, with factual information, that when you hear people like KJ and all these people talking about fowl farm, that they know one thing they're talking about. Because if you question them about what Mr. Curtis Batiste said, and you put forward the timelines and the documented evidence in relation to the issue of the fowl farm, these people cannot respond because they know not of what they speak. They believe that it is an angle of attack on the new National Party, so they start with the fowl farm. We were able to show you when it came to the shrimp farm, and I realized every night we're doing a program on one of these things. When we were doing it on the fowl farm, internet started to get problem. We're doing it on the chicken farm, the shrimp farm, internet started to get problem. Tonight, mixer started to give problem. Every time we clean up one of these issues, while we're trying to clear up, things begin getting distorted. So it means that we have to go over all of them again pretty soon. So now you hear them talking about, it is the NDC government coming. NDC government happened to be in office when the government of Grenada, not the NDC, the government of Grenada paid pension. Make sure that you explain that to them when you hear them making fools of themselves out there. Yeah? The government of Grenada paid pensions. The NDC happened to be in government and therefore had to abide by the court ruling. So when they were on the campaign trail, and maybe some of us did not do a good enough job of explaining that during the 2022 campaign, so enough people were caught up in the lacqueray, and they ended up believing the narrative that was being pushed by the NDC, that, hey, NNP want to pay the pension, but when we come in, we'll pay it. Whether it was the NNP, whether the ULP, where the one candidate had come and win the general election, no matter who it was that formed the government of Grenada, one thing was definitely for sure. They had no choice in the matter. They had to make the pension payments. Let me repeat. It was not a matter of I want to and I ain't feel to and I'm not going to. Absolute, unequivocal nonsense and trash. No matter which government came in, they had to make the pension payment. So pat yourself on the back for something that you had absolutely nothing to do with. Deacon Mitchell was a lawyer. He could have gone to the Public Workers Union. He could have gone to the Technical and Allied Workers Union or the Grenada Manual and Mental Intellectual Workers Union. He could have gone to any of those unions that had people working within the public service and said, I offer my services to you free so that we can resolve this pension issue. He, as a lawyer in the state of Grenada, was no way wrong. But when the court already ordered for the pension to be paid, he jumped up about, if we form the government, we're going to pay the pension. If we form the government, we're going to pay the pension. He's a lawyer. He had no choice. And somebody's saying, yes, that they pay the gratuity, not the pension. But you know what I'm talking about. People generally say the pension. We know it's a gratuity. But people generally say the pension and so on. Excuse me. So the pension payments, as we refer to it, were made no matter who formed the government. And I think one of the mistakes that was made during the last campaign, people like myself and others did not take enough time to explain to the population that, hey, this guy is promising you something that you have to get anyway. It's like somebody coming to you and campaigning tonight and saying to you, hey, give me $100. And if you give me $100, I'll make sure that the sun rises in the east tomorrow morning. It has to happen anyway, unless Papa God decided to happen. So they come to you and they campaign and they say, give me $100. Once you give me that $100, the sun will rise in the morning in the east. And then you wake up in the morning and you see the sun rise in the east and you say, boy, you know, I give them the $100 and the sun rise and shoot. So you begin to feel now that this person or that individual had something to do with it. No, they had nothing to do with it. The sun was rising there from since eternity. Sun has always been rising in that direction. They know that it will rise there. So when they come to you and they tell you, give me $100 and the sun will rise there, they're doing that fully well knowing that the sun is going to rise, and then If you are of that ilk, you are going to say to them, wow, thank you so very much for making sure that the sun rise. I will give you another $100 if you could make it rise tomorrow morning again. So understand where the NDC came from. They, as an organization, they have lawyers that are involved. You have the Attorney General. Was she involved in the pension case? Did she offer her services to the unions and so on, say to the unions, hey, I'm willing to help in relation to the pension issue. I'm willing to offer my services for free. I mean, she doesn't win case, but still. I'm offering my services to you all. They did not. So one, only two people that have to be congratulated. Deacon Mitchell was nowhere wrong. When prior to 2013, and Hermelin Armstrong and them was fighting up, where was Deacon Mitchell? Where was any of the people that you're seeing in the cabinet of Grenada right now? Where were all the people that you see around the NDC right now when it came to the issue of the restoration of pension payments to certain categories of workers in the state of Grenada? They talk, but did they actually participate in having that reinstated or restored? No. And the new National Party administration could have fought it. There were good legal grounds where the NNP could have decided, hey, we are not going to accept the judgment. We are going back to the courts on this issue. And right now, and I mean right now, and for a couple of years to come, the issue could have still been tied up in the courts. And the people who got their pension could have not got their pension. They would not have gotten a single cent up to today. The NNP said, no, we are not going to appeal. We are going to abide by the ruling. And they started putting the mechanisms for payment in place. The Deacon Mitchell administration came in office. The mechanism was already started. They completed with the mechanism that was there. And then they utilized the funds and they paid. The funds that they had nothing in. In fact, remember, these are people that increased their salary without showing any merit, without showing anything and saying, okay, we were able to achieve this, that, the other. Within the first 2 months, these people increased their salary by over 25%. And these individuals just went, they take all the money from the treasury and they say, okay, just pay them. We go look good. Pay them. We go look good. We go be able to say that we pay pension. But pension has nothing, let me repeat it. I'll say it if I had to say it 100 times tonight. Pension payments have nothing to do with the National Democratic Congress government. Nothing. It was paid in spite of and not because of the NDC administration. It was paid in spite of the NDC being in office. Not because of the NDC being in office. And understand the difference. In spite of and not because of. It is not because the NDC formed the government that pension payments were made. That is absolute, unequivocal, unintelligent nonsense. The people who continue to repeat that, common sense and intelligence has been chasing them from childbirth. And it has not been able to catch up with them because they seem to be sprinting like Usain Bolt. So no matter what it is, they cannot claim to sensible people that they are the ones that they cannot tell people that they are the ones that are responsible for any pension payments. Put that in your pipe and don't smoke it because you might get cancer. And the healthcare facilities in Grenada right now, we ain't too sure if they're going to be able to deal with you. And we're not too sure about the visa situation to go in the United States. So we ain't going to tell you put it in your pipe and smoke it because whether you support us or not, you're a Grenadian and you're a human being. So we want to see the best for you still. Yeah? And I was just about to tell people call, but no. We cannot, I don't know, we're just not getting that audio. It is just not working. And I really don't know what went wrong with the mixer between last night and tonight, because what you were hearing last night, for the entire period, you were actually hearing everything there was Honorable Emlyn Pierre. You were hearing her through the mixer. Yeah? And I don't know what went wrong between last night and tonight. The mixer, nobody didn't touch it, nobody interfere with it. But the mixer decided he mixing tonight. Yes, indeed. So understand what is taking place when it comes to pensions. Yeah? Let me check the comments since I can't take the calls. Let me see in the comments. Jefferson Hagley is saying, Sheldon, we're not even studying them because we know the pension had to pay. I know that's what you're saying there. Nice. Red Girl Pascal is saying, but Sheldon, they paid the gratuity, not the pension. We understand that, but you know how we speak in the colloquial terms. Right? Bernard Joseph is saying, NNP was not responsible for all the chicken, shrimp farm, and that sort of thing. No. The New National Party, again, we played this stuff for you. In 20... yeah. In 2003, 2002, 2003, the then government, the NNP government at that time, provided funds to Sunset Enterprises Limited and the lands and so on for them to set up the poultry farm. They utilized some of those funds, not all of it, but it was about 1.8 million, and they utilized those funds and so. So the poultry farm was on the way to being done and so on, right? Because the groundwork was being done. Not that you had the buildings up and you had chickens and that kind of thing, no. But you were doing your studies and for the feed and for everything like that, right? Hurricane Ivan came in 2004. That is how they didn't even finish spending what was there. And then the government had to make a decision where to spend your money. Do you give money to a quote-unquote private entity to do a chicken farm, or do you build back the houses for the people in St. David and St. Andrew Southeast and St. George Northeast and South St. George, in fact the whole island, where you had people lost their homes? Do you go and you build back houses for them? Do you fix back the community centers and all of the other facilities, the schools and so? Do you fix those back, or do you take the money, millions of dollars, and give for a fowl farm? And I think anybody that has common sense, the choice is clear. Anybody that has sense, not just common sense, anybody that has sense, the choice is clear. And Mr. Curtis Batiste was very clear in relation to that. And he said that the NNP government always dealt very fairly and transparently with him. Yeah? He said that. Again, we can't play it tonight because the system is giving problems. When it comes to the shrimp farm, in 2017, you had the sod turning ceremony for the shrimp farm at the same location. Yeah? By 2018, the government didn't wait 4 years, 5 years, 6 years down the road and then say, well, we ain't seen shrimp farm, we ain't seen nothing, give us a report. In about a year's time, the NNP administration said to the people who had proposed, and the developers of the shrimp farm, said to them, okay, you've been selling citizenship and so you've been getting funding for the program. We want an audit. And they had to provide the information. And I showed you that information last week, but again, the system problems. They showed the information in relation to how those funds that they received up to that point, how those funds were spent. Yeah? And then the government also made the decision to create the escrow account. So you had the situation, instead of the money going directly to developers, where they could utilize it as they saw fit, it instead went to a special account where the government of Grenada controlled and would be able to release it in little bursts and say, okay, you've done this part, we review it, okay, that looks good, yeah, you in on budget and so on, and right, okay, and release a next set of money. And then you look again and you say, okay, everything seems to be in order, and you release a next set of money, and going like that with it. But not a situation where, as had happened with the shrimp farm at that point in time, that the monies were just going directly to the individuals. So it is not a case where you have, and that was up to, they accounted for up to about 29 or something million, if I remember correctly, from the documentation with the shrimp farm. So what the NDC has done, they take that figure, US, the 29 million, they convert it to EC, and then they claim now that the people of Grenada have to pay back the investors into that money. That's not the case. That is not the case. That's absolute poppycock, for want of better language. Nonsense. So when they come and they talk about shrimp farm, and they speak about chicken farm, ask these individuals where the government of Grenada had to spend any money on these things. What the government of Grenada had to spend money on was the Kimpton by Koana. And that had nothing to do with the new National Party. Had Deacon Mitchell and the NDC gone to court, as they should have gone to court, and completed the legal process, the people of Grenada would not have had to pay the 22 or so million US that they paid that time. And we're hearing for the 214 people who are investors in the program, and due to the way that the NDC administration reclaimed the property and so on, they now have to pay off these investors who own their shares, their timeshare and so on, in the property. And that is where you have some $50-something million to be paid. The government has remained very silent. You're not hearing a word from Mr. Richard Duncan and all of the others that were there, expatiating all over the place about the project and making it seem as though they had done something so good by not going to court. They did not do something good. So when you hear that they can't pay the people in Carriacou who are contractors, and they can't pay the hardware stores up to now, can't pay the hardware stores and the contractors, when you're hearing these things, it could very well be because they take the money to pay the people who are investors in Kimpton. It could very well be that they utilized that money when they were paying the developers or when they were paying the investors. So when it comes to pension, again, they try to twist the story. And they try to give the impression that they were the ones, the saviors of the Grenadian people that came in. Forget the unions, man. No union had nothing to do with that. And the Public Workers Union could be wrong if they sit down there and allow Deacon Mitchell and his minions to come in there and give the impression that they are the ones that secured this victory on behalf of workers. The unions could be wrong. Because it's the unions that spend the money for the lawyers, you know. The unions that came up and speak about this issue every single Labor Day for probably the last 20 years or more. It is every single trade union leader, general secretary, president of the Public Workers Union. Days from Madonna Harford, all these people back in the days always speak on this pension issue. And they didn't just speak, but they took action in relation to it. Where was the NDC? NDC was in government 2 times with the same pension issue hanging over the heads of Grenadians, you know. So when they give you the impression that they came in and did this, it was the NNP that said, hey, we ain't going forward fighting with the union in relation to this thing. And now they have come and they're giving the... And this is the one here. Let me see if I can find this particular bit of documentation. I had put it aside, but everything seems to have gone out of whack tonight. But it was, the NNP had a memorandum of understanding with the trade unions in relation to pension. Yeah? The NNP had a memorandum of understanding. Yeah? This is the memorandum of understanding between the Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, Grenada Union of Teachers, RGPF, Gazetted Officers Association, RGPF, Welfare Association, and Her Majesty's Prisons, right? Along with the Public Workers Union, Government of Grenada. And you see there the different aspects of this, right? The agreement. The parties agree to restoration and a phased approach to reform for qualifying officers' employees. Yeah? Below details the respective phases and describes the categories of officers' employees to be covered. And you're seeing under phase 1 what had to be done, right? So you're seeing all of that here. I won't go into detail and so on, right? The minimum pension replacement rate for eligible officers after completing 26.666 years of service shall be 70%. In other words, after you've worked for 26 years in the public service, you will retire with 70, well, let's just say 27% then, 27 years. You will retire receiving 70% of your pension. That was what the New National Party was working on with the unions and so on. Yeah, then you have phase 2 that dealt with the unestablished, the 26.6, that was for the established, right? Yeah, and then you had phase 2 that dealt with the unestablished workers, and so that's the people who are, as government is saying right now, they're trying to regularize and all of that. All right, nice. So you have that there. Now the thing is this, and you have it signed by the Labor Commissioner here, the President of the Public Workers Union, Ms. Anna Prezan, Brother Isaac, right? So you have that signed on behalf of the government of Grenada. All of that information is there. All right, nice. What the present administration is doing, in particular to the unestablished workers, is way below what is being offered, what was being offered by the NNP. Under the NNP, these unestablished workers, when they were put into the system, would be receiving 70% of their last salary. The pension scheme that workers are being made to pay into right now offers no such thing. Yeah? It offers no such thing. What these workers will be getting, if you start putting in money into it in January and you retire end of this month, the only money you're getting from that is whatever money you have between January and now. You all understand what I'm saying here? The last one, what the NNP was offering was not a situation that the workers had to pay into any pension scheme, you know. It was you work with the government of Grenada and you're going to receive 70% of your salary after 26.6 years. Well, 0.7 years. You would receive 70% of your salary. What this government is doing with the workers who are receiving that pension that they're going to be getting there now, those workers are only not going to be receiving a 70% of their last salary. They are only going to receive whatever they put into the pension is all that they are going to receive. So if all you have in the pension plan by the end of 2025 is $700 or $7 and you retire at the end of 2025, that is what you're getting. And I'm not saying that you're getting $700 a month, you know. $700 in total, that is all that you have to get. Yeah? So when they want to talk about pension, we can have a conversation in relation to pension. Because let's take, for instance, a nurse who was on a public service commission contract for the last 3.5 years in a truly vacant position. Would that person be considered a new public sector employee for the purposes of the Public Sector Employees Pension Act? And which pension arrangement do you believe that person, that worker would qualify? Right? And the government is saying no. A nurse or any other public service employee who has been engaged on a public service commission contract for the last 3.5 years in a truly vacant position would not be considered a new public sector employee for the purposes of the new Public Sector Employees Act. These workers will be covered under the old pension arrangement. Right. The 1958 pension allows for 66 and 2/3 of the workers' last salary. So roughly about 70%, well, 66 and 2/3 of the workers' last salary. Does the pension scheme, and I'm asking, these are questions that were posed in Parliament, does the pension scheme guarantee a percentage amount of the workers' last salary? If so, what is the percentage and what section of the law this information can be found? And it says the new pension does not guarantee any minimum or maximum replacement rate as a defined contribution plan. Each member's contribution, employer, employee, volunteer, accumulate with interest upon retirement. The amount accumulated in the member's account will be available for drawdown or purchase of an annuity. So in other words, as I mentioned before, if you've started paying in January and you retire in July next month, you only have as a pension what money you have put into that new pension plan to get it. You do not have any additional money. There is nothing like you're going to receive 70% of your last salary or even 20% of your last salary. Only what money, be it $20 or $200, whatever you put in is what will be available to you. That is what the government is not telling you. That is what they don't want you to know. And they give the impression that they have a superior pension plan and their pension plan is superior and all of that. That is definitely not the case. That is definitely not the case. Yeah? So I just wanted to clarify. It's now a little after 9. As I said, I may not go the full 2 hours tonight. You all please understand, I'm not 100% tonight. You realize I'm sweating all sorts of things. I'm not 100% tonight. So I may go up until 9:30. But outside of that, I wanted to delve in another issue here tonight. And if it takes me next hour, all well and good. No problem. I'll fight it and do it. I want to warn us. I say us because I'm including myself here. I want to warn us, the supporters of the New National Party, not to become complacent. Yeah? Not to become complacent. Right? And somebody just sent some information here to me. Thanks, brother. Employees of the government who are employed in the public service on a contractual basis, whether fixed term or otherwise, and who by virtue of the terms and conditions of their contract are eligible to receive a gratuity. That's the law, eh? But the government is saying differently right now in their response to the questions. Employees of the government who are currently employed in the public service for a period exceeding 15 years and are 50 years of age or older. Right? And they tell me, please note section 3A and B, exempt certain categories of workers. All right. I think I ought to bring that person on and we got to have a proper conversation in relation to the pension. As I said, everything is not working the way I want it to work tonight, so we have to bring that person on during next week and have a longer conversation in relation to the pension. Because this nonsense about NDC restore pension, dotishness, stupidness, they didn't restore nothing. The courts restore. NDC ain't pay nothing. NNP put the money there and they had to pay. Government of Grenada had to pay. It was a court order. If they defied the court order, somebody was going to jail and it wasn't NNP. Yeah? So I was saying, I'm going to get back to the pension issue on another program because I said I just want to get through this other one now. I've been listening very carefully to various supporters of the New National Party. There was some information regarding polls that came out just over the last couple of weeks. There was some information in relation to polling that came out. And many NNP supporters have been listening to that and doing a victory lap. Hey, it ain't no time to, we'll do the victory lap the night of election. Do not take those kinds of information and decide that you're where you need to be and it's time to stop working. Now is the time to increase the volume of work. Now is the time to knock on each and every door in every street, in every village, in every polling division, in every constituency, in every parish in Grenada. Now is the time to be knocking on each and every. Don't go skipping houses. Because it have a lot of people that put on the yellow t-shirt and went and jump up last election. And right now, they burn the t-shirt. And if you take the impression and you take the belief that these people are supporters of the NDC and you don't go and knock on their door, you are losing an opportunity to gain a vote. Don't believe that the weakness of the NDC is the strength of the New National Party. There are some people are listening all year, you know. and are watching all you too. They believe that the weakness of the NDC weak in that seat, boy. We winning that one. How we winning it? You only win it when the votes finish count on the night of election. How we winning it? We are winning none unless we do the work. Because I'm seeing a bit of a lackadaisical, we win already attitude creeping in. Among some of us that call ourselves activists, and among some of us that call ourselves supporters of the new National Party. I'm seeing it. It's dangerous. I saw it before. We ended up in opposition when I saw it. I've seen it in other countries. You end up in opposition or remain in opposition if you allow that attitude to percolate and to settle. There is work to do, and we need to do the work. So it's all well and good to say that, oh, you're seeing the NDC, only these seats that they're strong in, and that sort of thing. But tell yourself something. Do you fully take on the information that's being put out? Do you fully believe that information? And I'm not saying that the information isn't correct, you know. But I'm saying I have my little caveats in relation to these bits and pieces of information. And one of them is this, that these bits and pieces of information come out, and I'm looking at these things, and there are recommendations for the NDC as what to do to retain office. And I see absolutely no recommendations of what the new National Party should do to get into office. And that should tell you about the slant that these bits and pieces of information have. They tell you for the NDC to retain office, they give a 10-point plan in their document. A 10-point plan for the NDC. This is what you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is what you need to do to remain in office. Now, if you are impartial, and if you are looking after, impartial observer, and you're looking after the interests of everybody, the same way you see that, you should see 10 points of what the new National Party needs to do to get into office. And then you should see 10 points of what a third party needs to do to be able to get into office. But once you see it is only giving you what one political party needs to do to get into office, it tells you a lot about what is being put out. I'm not saying that you don't have to believe it. I'm saying that you have to be very careful with how you accept the information that is being put out there. And do not allow the information being put out there to distract you from doing the work that needs to be done. You understand that canvassing needs to be done. You understand that right now, between 2022 and 2025, we have more people becoming Grenadian citizens through CBI than the amount of people being born in the state of Grenada in the same period of time, or even probably for the last 10 years. You have more people becoming Grenadian citizenship with voting rights. That you're seeing significant increases in the numbers of people in different areas going onto the voters list, and you still have problems with the electoral system. So you go and make victory lap. NNPites you are talking to, you go and make victory lap and talk about, well, we had them where we want them and we beaten them. And don't go and do the work and see if they hang your jack on election day. You go ahead. We have work to do. The simple fact that these people are putting out these things, and I saw another set today, and all they are doing is that they are offering advice to the NDC. They are not offering any advice to the new National Party. That alone should tell you all you need to know. That alone should make you aware I have to do my work and be very cautious in letting these people make me drop my guard. But somehow you're dropping all your guard. I saw the release came out in relation to Carriacou being next year. And then I saw some people who are NNP supporters jumping up. Well, yeah, boy, election is after that, boy. So they drop the guard. You can't drop your guard. It is not the New National Party that have the election date in the pocket. It is the NDC. Who telling you that they can't call it next month? Who telling you they can't call it after Carnival? Or before Christmas? Who telling you that? So you just make an assumption that, okay, Carifta is next year, NDC go want to jump up in Carifta, so they ain't calling. Who tell you that? So you was calling radio station and calling and defending the party and putting out issues, good. And you stop because they may calling election no man, Carifta. Nonsense. You was going out and helping with the canvas and thing. All of a sudden you're busy, you can't go, you ain't have time, all kind of thing. Carifta next year, man, they ain't going and call election, or we have time to do that. Nonsense. We have work to do. Lots of work to do. And with the lot of work that we have to do, the hands are few. So each and every one of us that can become involved need to become involved. Don't let no poll swing your mind to thinking that, hey, we have it in the bag already. You don't. I often do conferences around the region. And in those conferences, I usually make the same statement all the time. You can have the most popular candidate with the most money, and they will lose the seat. Let me repeat. You could have the most popular candidate with the most money out there putting on meetings, mega meetings every night. They have busload of people bringing everywhere, all kind of thing, and they will lose election night. You know why? If they do not organize properly, they do not know who their voters are and where they are, they do not put in a proper election day machinery. When election day come, popular as you're popular, your people ain't coming out and vote because you didn't mobilize them. Or when you check yourself, you realize, hey, look, I have these 50 people who are willing to vote for me, but we can't find the name on the list. And then when you check, did you register? Well, I did register, but I didn't go. The last time they had the registration thing, I forget I didn't go. And you check the list and realize you have 50 people that cannot vote on election day. You don't do the work and you will find out. Or as the young people say, you found out on election day. We have work to do. Let us get the work done. Do not go and just taking, and I'm not saying that, and let me clarify, before I was saying certain things, and I want to clarify now. When you hear the pollsters call and give them the information, I have no problem with that. Give them. Yeah? Give them the information, because you don't know who's calling you for a poll. It could be the NNP, could be the NDC, could be not NNP or NDC, could be an impartial body. They call, they ask for the information in relation to a poll, give them. If you feel like it. If you don't feel like it, don't give them. That is your right. You don't have to give them the information. But if you feel like giving them, give them. If you don't feel like giving them, don't give them. But don't let the results of the polls make you decide that now it's time to ease up. Now it's no time to ease up. Now it's time to press gas. As of Monday, the NDC administration would be in office exactly 3 years. Which means, you all could remember election day. You all could remember swearing in. If you all go in some communities, you could still find the 100-meter mark, the 100-yard mark on the road, isn't it? You're still seeing on some buildings the house or the heart and symbols from the last general election. You're still seeing it around some communities. So elections seem as though it wasn't that far away. But elections now coming are closer than elections gone. In other words, the next elections are closer than the last elections were. And we have to do the work. Now is not the time to be looking at poll and saying, well, we see the poll. Yeah, boy, let me ease up, boy. You see, watch Carnival time. Me and brother them, I go in and play jab. Me have time to go and canvass no list and all kind of things. Steady. While you are canvassing list, them canvassing it 2 and 3 times. They know everybody and all where they are. And the people who provide in the poll that puts you in that mindset, these individuals, you realize they only lean into one side. Yeah? They lean into one side. Any one of you. I challenge anybody. Send me the information via WhatsApp or whatever. Send me the information where these individuals have provided advice to the New National Party. They spoke about Miss Nolene Thompson. They say Miss Nolene Thompson is operating wonderfully. They were glowing in terms of Miss Nolene Thompson. They spoke about Mr. Peter David in the most negative terms and so on. And what they're trying to get you to do, if you're stupid, because they talk nice about Nolene and then they come and they talk bad about Peter, they're trying to give you the impression now that Peter David and the movement and all these other third parties and so, don't bother with them, man. Them not to be worried about. Let me tell you all something. I ain't saying to worry about it, but understand something. I've said it on this program and I'll say it again. Who don't like it, bite their tongue. A vote for anything but the New National Party is a vote for the NDC. Whichever other party it is, whichever other individual it is, once it is not the New National Party, it is a vote for the NDC. And to stay home and say I'm not going to vote is also a vote for the NDC, because your vote may have been the one vote that take the NDC out of office. Turks and Caicos on the 7th of February. There's a constituency called the Bai. That's constituency number 8. 8 here, the Bai, in Turks and Caicos. There's an individual by the name of Audric Skippins. He won by one vote. One vote. So if he had ignored one person in the constituency and said, well, I ain't going and check that person, man, I have it in the bag. If he had decided, boy, me and that man voting, so I could cuss him. If he had not gone and spoken to as many people as he did and interacted with them, he would not have won the seat. You could go online and check it now. Audric Skippins, the Bai. Turks and Caicos general election, 7th of February 2025. He won by exactly one vote. There's another person in that election that won by, I think, about 11 votes. Very, very close. So every single vote counts. So when you decide that general elections are there and you sitting down home and you not coming out and vote because I don't like this one and that one, they tell me that, and this one in the office did that, and so on, you're putting your country back into 5 years of misery. You're putting your country back to go through what we have just been through for the last 3 years. You're putting your country to go through the ghost town that our capital and other areas are becoming. That you know when you're going Gov does be active and all kind of thing. And right now, when you see the state of Gov, you're wondering if that is Gov. You're going in town, and when you're ready, it's best you take cricket bat, set up a thing in the middle of the road and start to play cricket. Because he dead. It's Lakwa or Bailey that had to come for it. So you cannot take the position that you're going to sit at home and not come out and vote. That is a vote for the NDC. So sit down there and talk about Carriacou is next year, April. They ain't calling elections before that. Sit down there. Don't go and get your children registered. And don't just get them registered, because there's a mistake some people make the last time. They go and they got their children registered. And they did not speak to their children and explain to them the importance of voting and voting for the New National Party. The same children that sit down at home right now without a job. They did not explain to these children the importance of voting and the history of the New National Party and what they've been able to do. So when we as parents did not explain to our children the history of the New National Party, that is the New National Party, the children may understand that NNP was there during COVID, you know. But that has been pushed as a negative. The children don't know anything about Hurricane Ivan who just registering to vote. They were not alive when Hurricane Ivan passed. Let me repeat. The children who go in and vote in the next election, who taken 18 this year, were not alive when Hurricane Ivan passed. They were not alive when Hurricane Emily passed. They know nothing what take place there. So when they hear about burial and build back better and think, they think it's something new and a new concept, and NDC is doing something amazing. Because in their mind, they have nothing to compare it to. And we as parents, we have to take the responsibility because we are not explaining to them. And we are not telling them. And that is what the Friday Night Forum is really supposed to be about. It is supposed to be a forum where we can articulate on these various issues, give a historical perspective, pull the videos and so. But again, I'm not at the location where I could access the old videos as I was doing before, to pull things from 1980 something or 1990 something and put it forward and say, listen to this or watch this and so on. I'm not able to do that. But that is what the Friday Night Forum is supposed to be about. And we can address these different things that they keep putting out there. Because it's high time that we do it, and we can't be afraid to tell them straight that they're talking nonsense and they don't know what they're talking about. So when they come and they're telling you about chicken farm and they're telling you about shrimp farm and things, tell them straight they don't know what they're talking about. Give them the opportunity to explain it to you. Because I am absolutely positive that 99.9% of them cannot even give you a historical perspective in relation to it. I'm positive, and the minute remainder will give you a skewed version of what the truth is. And that's a fact. But they constantly call radio, and they try to talk nice, because the other thing with them is that these individuals believe that all other people in the state of Grenada are stupid. They believe they are the only intelligent people, and everybody else in the state of Grenada is stupid. That's the thing with them. Yeah? They believe everybody else in Grenada have no sense. It's only them that have sense. It's only them that reasonable. Yeah? Them alone. That is the belief. So we have to make sure. Yeah, let me just fix this, sorry. I'm just fixing one issue, folks. I'm sorry about that. It started to come out here. Right, good. I think that should be better now. Yeah. Sorry about that little static that you should have been hearing there for a little while. Yeah. Don't let these people get away with what they have been doing. Don't allow them to get away with it. They've got away with it for quite a while, and it is time we put an end to that nonsense. It is time we put an end to that. Yeah? It is time we ensure that we tell the young people the truth. Yeah? And folks, I'm going to go for about another 5 minutes. As I said, I won't go for the full time tonight. So I may go for just another 5 minutes because, as I said, this... Oh boy. Yeah, it's just not one of those days. I've been out in the field for the entire day today. So I am drained. I am drained. Believe me, I'm drained today. Yeah? But yeah, we have to speak to our children, but not just our children. We have to speak to our neighbors. We have to speak to our co-workers. You have people who have not set foot in the state of Grenada for the last 40 years. And who come talking about shrimp farm and chicken farm and so. And I'm not speaking about people who are outside of Grenada and come every now and again. They have their properties here, or even if they don't have properties, but they come to Grenada every now and again. Some come every year for Carnival, some come every year for Christmas, some come any opportunity they get. Some come once every couple of years they come, maybe every 5, 6, 7 years they come, but they do come home. And when something happens, they're always the first to organize and try and help their country. I'm not speaking about these people who are Grenadian and try their very best to be part of what is taking place in their country. I'm talking about those mouth champions who does be on Facebook, that as soon as you open your mouth to speak, these are the people that have the worst things to say about you and attack you and so on. These are the people that have contributed absolutely nothing to the development of the state of Grenada. But they bad on the internet talking about defending me prime minister. What prime minister? That prime minister too? That is prime minister too? Defending me prime minister. And you ask yourself, okay, you're defending your prime minister. What is his body of work? And let's take 3 years out of the present political leader. We even go into Dr. Mitchell because I refuse to do the disrespect of comparing the service of Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell to Deacon Mitchell. That is utmost disrespect. It's even disrespectful to do it in the case of the Honorable Emlyn Pierre. Yeah? It is disrespectful and I apologize for doing it. But if you take 3 years out of the life of the Honorable Emlyn Pierre and put it up, in fact, we ain't taking 3 years. We're taking 1 year out of the life of the Honorable Emlyn Pierre and place it against the 3 years as Prime Minister of Deacon Mitchell, and Emlyn Pierre beats him like a bongo drum in a Rasta dance in Shashamani. Any day. We could take a day out of the time that she has served the people of Grenada. Whether it was leading the reconstruction of the stadium that the NDC before had said there was no agreement for and all that nonsense. Whether it is making sure that not just that it was done, but in record time. Whether it was creating opportunities for thousands upon thousands of young people who are now permanently employed. When you look at the police service, a lot of these young people that got into the police service, they got in there as Imani. And they were working along with the police, and then they got the opportunity to go train in school. Whether it's in the police band or the fire department or wherever, and they got the opportunity, they are now full-fledged police officers, nurses. I remember us being at the Grenada Trade Center, and we had an Imani session, and the Honorable Emlyn Pierre said to those gathered at that session, we are seeking some young ladies to send, well, not young ladies alone, but some young people to send to be nurses. And anybody interested, come and meet us up at the front. And I saw some young ladies. I just see them in the white right now. There's one I know that is in the UK right now doing very well. And she got her training, became a registered nurse through the Imani program. I'm seeing people who have done not just their bachelor's, but their master's degree. And they got it through what? The Imani program. But we, as NNPites, we sat down there and we allowed the NDC to turn the Imani into a bad word. And some of us big, hardback NNPites was there using Imani as some sort of derogatory term and not realizing we were reinforcing the negatives of those who were trying to destroy it and destroy the NNP. We did not understand that. That is the madness that was taking place. And even those who were in the program, for them to come out and defend it and say, well, look, the house I'm living in right now is through the Imani program that I got my foot in the door to be able to get the job that I have right now to build that house, and I started it while I'm an Imani trainee. The fridge I have, the stove I have, all these things I got it as an Imani trainee. The small business I have, I got the training and then the funding through the Imani program to be able to do that. You have a group of people that say they're young and they're for young people. Ask them what program they have done for young people up to now. Prior to 2008, the New National Party had close to 35 separate programs for young people. From events and activities to programs to all different things. 35. This NDC administration can't even come up with 4. They can't even continue. As soon as you talk about Project Fly, they run and they put out something. Oh, we're doing Project Fly, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then you realize you're hearing nothing now about Project Fly. Yeah? As soon as you talk about one of the youth programs that existed, they run out and they say, well, look, we're doing this in relation to that, and we're doing that in relation to that. And then you hear nothing again. So we have the responsibility, and those who have benefited have the responsibility. Because what took place with the Imani program reminds me of something else I saw happen once. There was a particular business entity that opened up in Grenada. That was early in the period of the New National Party administration. They offered their employees the opportunity to gain US visas. So because they had another entity in another department in the US that they wanted these workers who were so good to rotate through, they were helping the workers to get their visas. So that business place was sending the workers to Barbados. They were paying for their flight to go to Barbados. If they had to overnight, they were giving them a stipend to help them with that. They were paying for the visa application and giving them all the documentation from the job to go to get it. You all know what happened? The first set of workers that went up to Barbados and get the visa, when they come back to Grenada, you know what they did? They leave the job and they go to the States. When somebody asked them, well, how you could do that? They said, well, I get mine already. Who behind that is their business, you know. And some of them might even be listening to this program tonight, so you all know I'm lying. When they got through and they got their visa through the job, you know, their thanks to the people with the job, their appreciation for those who were left behind and had to come and get the same treatment was that, well, I get through already, you know, so who behind that their business? I get my visa, I gone. So they got their visas, left the business, and go, you know what the business did? They said, okay, all those benefits we were giving to Grenadians, since that's the way that they want to operate with us, we will only give them the letter, the job letter. So the only thing that we're not helping them pay for no flights, we're not going to help them, we're not going to pay for the visa application, we're not going to give them a look of spending money stipend for when, if they have to overnight, or we're not doing all of that. The only thing we're doing for them is give them a job letter. And the first set, they get through, they ain't even turn back and say, well, let me hang around a bit, let me ensure that some more get through and so on. No. It's like we hold them. We get through and we're gone. To hell was everybody else behind. And to me, that is the attitude of some people that have been through the Imani program. Sad to say. I get through, I get where I have to get, to hell was the rest behind. You're going through a ministry, and it is guaranteed that you will bounce up somebody who started, who's not a permanent worker in the ministry, but started under the Imani program. The government could not be putting all these people permanent if they ever get around to doing it, because they keep promising. They could not be putting people permanent if the people were not competent, and if they didn't first get the opportunity through the same Imani program that they're damning right now. If they didn't get the opportunity through that program to get into the public service. It is a sad situation that many of us keeping too quiet. We are looking at a situation. We heard the political leader last night. She was excellent. We heard the political leader last night when she spoke about what is taking place with the electoral system, How many of us take the opportunity to speak to somebody else about what is taking place with the electoral system, or call a television program, or call a radio program and speak about it? The Prime Minister said he's making himself available for people to ask questions. My personal belief, they're screening calls. That's my personal belief. It don't have to be true. I believe they're screening the calls. But you have that situation taking place, and none of you call and ask the man what's going on with Andy Williams. Seriously? None of you pick up the phone and call the man and ask him, hey, we hearing this thing about Andy Williams. Have you investigated? At what level have you investigated? What was the findings? What was the evidence that you all reviewed? Is there evidence? You only ask the man nothing. All you afraid him? All you afraid paff on them? All you afraid this NDC administration? Them all you afraid? You all Grenadians who been through Gary, been through the revolution, been through a US invasion, been through Hurricane Ivan, Emily, and Beryl. All you afraid Deacon and crew? Them all you afraid? And nothing achieving, nothing doing, money grabbing group of individuals, them all you afraid? Really and truly? That is what we as Grenadians come to? The small island that America sent how much 1,000 troops to invade? The same group of people that bomb Tingin and children playing pitch? Come on, man. That is not the Grenadians I know. I mean, all you afraid. All you don't get nothing from them anyway. Afraid if I talk, I wouldn't get this, and afraid if I talk, all you ain't getting anyway. All you hear the man, they need to know who is the people. And then that was reiterated by Andy Williams just about 2 weeks ago. They need to know who the people is so they could do things to the people. And you all day about, I ain't talking because I'm afraid who? And joke all you making day. And joke all you had to be making day. Yeah? Definitely had to be making joke on that one. Moko, you're asking what program Deacon does be on? You have a program he does have on a Tuesday. I ain't doing advertising for him, but you have a program he does be on a Tuesday. Don't worry, I'll get the information directly to you. I'm not advertising for them. They have to advertise for themselves. I don't helping them. Yeah? Advertise for themselves. Nice? I'm not helping them advertise. So they could go and they could put all the ad and thing. But ask them. They come on. I could give you this one, GBN. They come on GBN on Wednesday mornings. Different government ministers generally come on at 9 o'clock. Ask them. Ask them, all your partner Andy, what's going on? Do you think it is right that the Prime Minister should be living in that rented property while taxpayers still have another property for him to live in? Ask them the questions. All you afraid? My Grenadian people afraid? Nah, man. That's not the Grenadians I know. Maybe we still shocked from Hurricane Ivan and Emily and now Beryl, man. Maybe we in some kind of shock. Because that's not the Grenadians that I know. That's not the Grenadians I grew up amongst. That's not the Grenadian I born and grow with. No. That's not the people that I know us to be. Well respected throughout the Caribbean because we brave. Yeah, we don't back down. Telling me you have a path government in office. Toy soldiers playing like if they want to be revolutionaries. They can't even be themselves. So the Prime Minister has to try to model himself after Maurice Bishop because he cannot be himself. So he can't be Deacon. He wants to be Maurice. So you listen to him talk and you realize he tries to modulate his voice. And he tries to use inflections in the way that Maurice Bishop used them when he spoke. He tries to recreate every single picture that you could find of Maurice Bishop. He tries his very best to recreate. So in the minds of the people that were alive during that period and had an admiration for Maurice, that admiration would be transferred to him a person who has done nothing for Grenadians. Maurice used to fight up in court and do all kind of things for Grenadians until he get brutalized and beat. What did Deacon Mitchell do? Go and find out about the Williams lady with Calabash Hotel. Go and ask the workers in Grenlec. Go and ask the workers in SGU, still the former workers, not even workers, former workers in SGU. Go and ask them about how Deacon Mitchell used to help workers and people in this country. I know Maurice Bishop, but he tries to dress in a particular way. He tries to walk in a particular way. Because he cannot be Deacon Mitchell, so he's trying to be Maurice Bishop. And he recognized the same thing. So Ron Redhead cannot be Ron Redhead. He has to try to look like Maurice Bishop, and he has to try to talk like Maurice Bishop, and he has to try to articulate like Maurice Bishop too, but he can't articulate because he ain't too bright. So you always find himself saying stupid things. And it's the same thing when you look at all of them. They can't be themselves because they're afraid to be themselves in front of you. Because if they are laid bare, they realize they will be ridiculed. So they take on the persona of these people who have a certain level of admiration historically in the minds of Grenadian people. So who's saying they think they look like Gary and they believe they like Eric Matthew Gary? Because in the minds of the elders who had an admiration for Gary, if they start to dress in colors like Gary and they start to say certain things that Gary said, they believe that they would capture that category of people. Because they cannot be themselves. The real them ain't good, you know. The real them do good. So they have to put on this makeup. Like if them is revolutionary. Them is puff puff. If a car backfire, they running. I'm telling you, we doesn't hear car backfiring again. But if a car backfire, they're running. If you're busting bamboo in the area and they're passing through, they pee themselves. That is the category of people that we have in charge of our country at this point in time. And all you're telling me, all you're afraid of them? One thing, I'm me, you know. You don't hear me trying to talk like somebody else, except when I'm mocking them. I ain't trying to look like nobody else. Sometimes you see me, my face clean. Sometimes because I have an issue when it comes to shaving. You all know that, right? By now? Yeah, I ain't hiding nothing from all you all. You know that when I shave, I start to have issues. So I start to like grow back and then shave. Right? So all you know me. I am me. I ain't have to put on nothing to try and be nobody else and act like if I was a Maurice Bishop or I was a Eric Matthew Gary. I don't have to sit down here and try to replicate Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. That is impossible anyway. It's only a one doc. It ain't had two. None of us do that. We are ourselves. We bring ourselves as we are to you. And when you look at the team of the new National Party, when you listen to especially the young ones who are coming in now, and this takes nothing away from those who were there before, when you look at the young ones who are coming in now, and you look at Amanda Japal George, and you hear her speak and so on, she ain't trying to be nobody from the revolution. She ain't trying to, she's her, that's her. That is Mandy. That is the real her. When you listen to Christopher Diali Jr., you recognize his own personality, his humbleness, but his deep intellect when he's speaking as well. That cannot be countered. So you realize even when he's unalive, the NDC does usually just go under alive for disruption, to talk stupidness and expatiate their ignorance, that they can't even attack him. When you see Jelani Glean, you realize Jelani is smiling. That is Jelani. I've known Jelani since 1996. 1995, in fact. I've known Jelani since then. This same Jelani I know in 1995 is the same Jelani I know now. He ain't putting on no airs and trying to play somebody that he's not. He is who he is. Yeah, he will hang out on the blocks with the guys. You'll find him down at the playing field with the football playing and those kind of things. Or you find him in the farm. That is Jelani. Jelani is Jelani. And you might watch him and you go say, well, they're just lying on the blocks with the guys. And when he starts to speak, you realize the depth intellectually that he has. Yeah? And then, not only we realize it, you see they're talking about Miss Nolene Thompson. And you realize the effect that she's having on the Prime Minister, that even when you run out to say he go just for a few hours and is back. It's like by the time the plane lands, is back in Grenada, you're afraid. Every minute now you want to have a meeting. You want to meet this group and that group and all kind of thing. Yeah? Prime Minister, I hear you're giving away tickets for your thing over the weekend, but you're giving away tickets. You can't get them sold, so you're giving it away? Tell me a lie. I hear you're giving away tickets for your thing over the weekend. I ain't saying what thing and I ain't saying when. I ain't doing no advertising for you, but you have something over the weekend. I hear you're giving away your tickets. You can't get them sold, so you're giving them away. So I buy, so I sell. It looks like I'm making it 2 hours. So I buy, so I sell. Yeah? I hear they giving away tickets. That the kind of people are afraid. What's the matter with you? Come on, man, Grenadians. That is not we. What do you mean you're afraid to come out to a meeting? What do you mean you're afraid to talk to somebody because there's a supporter of the New National Party, a known supporter? You're afraid to be seen with them. You're afraid to talk with them. All kind of nonsense. In we Grenada, you know. We afraid to talk in we Grenada. We afraid to pick up the phone and call a program and give our view in relation to something because we are afraid that these people who go do something, run. Are you really afraid to run? All you know what them Ghanese that's called a buck? He does look like a buck. Are you afraid to run? I apologize. But seriously, that is what you're afraid? Are you afraid Cornwall and Andal? Are you afraid Buffmouth Tevin, Mr. Pinky? That is what you're afraid? Are you afraid a prime minister does walk around with sash and sandals? Seriously? That is what we get to in our country? I'm not afraid none of them. I was not grown to fear people. I was grown to fear God. And I will never fear any of them. None of them. Yeah? On whatever level, I will never fear them. Yeah? I serve a true and living God. Me, I'm afraid them. I know who they're serving. So me, I'm afraid them, and you should not fear them. We have work to do, and it's time to do the work. We do not hold the timer. So we don't know if it's been pressed already or when it will be pressed. We do not know. You are seeing increased activity by the NDC. Again, going back to earlier when I was talking about advice was only given to the NDC. And if you read the document and you see the 10 different points of advice that was given to the NDC, you would realize that what you're seeing right now, the same advice that was given to the NDC, that they started carrying out those bits and pieces of advice close to 2 months ago. So it was mentioned, for instance, that they should have a weekly press conference. Well, I don't know if it's a WEAKLY, because the first press conference was very weak, and that is where the confrontation between Ms. Jenny Simon and Andy Williams et al. Took place. Yeah, the Three Musketeers. Wait is again, the Three Stooges. Yeah, the Three Stooges. Larry Moore, and I thought it was so. Yeah, so. Yeah. That is where the confrontation took. Have you realized that the weekly press conference for a second week in a row has not taken place? Have you realized that the NDC weekly press conference that was held 2 weeks ago has since then never taken place again? They afraid. You think Ron, Tevin, and Andy, or any other members of that team, Go in and put yourself before the media with the opportunity now for people like Jenny or even myself to walk in and say we go in and ask them questions. And I challenge anybody in the media in Grenada to tell me I'm not a media practitioner. Let me embarrass them. Because sure, if you add up half of the newsroom about GBN and MTV, they still do not have as much years in the media as me. You could add up the two newsrooms together, and they do not have the experience that I have in media and the amount of years I've spent in it. So if I go to a conference and I ask questions, none of them can question my credibility as a media practitioner to ask any questions. Yeah? Come and put it on papers, put on front page of paper and say fake journalist now. Let me give you a Jenny. Hey, Georgie? Jenny, but you have your belly to go and sue George Worm, Jenny. You really have your belly to go and sue George Worm. Dr. Mitchell probably win about 3 or 4 cases against that man, he don't pay. He don't pay. That same George Worm was right about people and who pay and who don't pay and thing. About 3 or 4 cases Dr. Mitchell have against him, he don't pay. Patrick Antoine win a case against him for, I think it's $200 and something thousand, $100 and something $1,000 in damages. Up to now, George Worm ain't paying nothing in relation to that. He don't pay in bow. And you have various other individuals who have won court cases against George Worm and his former publication and present publication. And he don't pay in bow. But sometimes you just have to sue him for make sure people understand that he has no facts to back up what he says. So Jenny, I mean, yeah, but there's no money behind that. I know you ain't looking for money, but there's no money behind that. George Worm, Papa, yo. Me, I'm afraid people like George Worm could write what he want. Me ain't give a hell. He could write what he want. I will never fear and they will never shut me up. I will never be afraid of Cousin George. Yes, it's my cousin. I will never be afraid of Cousin George. Or Chicken George. Yeah, better name for him. Chicken George. I'll never be afraid of Chicken George. Because I've seen them come and I've seen them go. Me afraid them. I remember after 2008, a particular individual walking in ministry and talking about, now we'll see you the real revolutionaries. Well, he gave one term and then he out of politics. I made sure of that. He gave one term and out of politics. Now we'll see you the real, buff up chest. Now we'll see you the real revolutionaries. I want to see you. I want to see you now. Yeah. That was how they was playing Bajan. One term, out. Political career done. Sit there and play, all afraid them. So that path, all afraid. Folks, I'll call it a night. That's all the time we have for talking points. I can't even play a tune to end because, as again, the system is giving some problems tonight. So I cannot end with a tune tonight. But be guaranteed, once I get the system up and running properly, and it's not the computers, tonight it's the mixer that's giving the problem tonight. I believe the channel on which we usually play the music and everything, I believe that channel on the mixer is gone. So I'll have to bring it to a repair shop or try and fix it myself overnight and run some tests during the day tomorrow and as well on tomorrow and on Sunday to make sure that I have it working properly so that we can have it up and running for Monday night. I can't afford not to have a program on Monday night. And then we will do the Friday night program next week again. And we will do it simply because we did not have the opportunity to do it tonight. And I want to respect the people that made their little donations, the little 5, the little 10, and so for tonight's program. I will not disrespect that. Yeah? Again, small technical problem. As tired as I am, watch, as soon as I done, I go in and sleep tonight. Believe me. I'll be sleeping within the next 20 minutes or so. Once you see I grab a shower, that's it. Sleep. Yeah? So I did not want to not do the program. We made sure that we did it. We touched on the pension, but I didn't go deep enough into the pension because what I want to do, I want to show you the judgment that was put forward so that you understand that it was a court order and not the niceness of the NDC. That pension was paid in spite of and not because of the NDC. So I'm going to show you the pension judgment in relation to that. And we're going to go over the timeline of when each and everything took place in relation to the pension issue. It was not Deacon Mitchell as any lawyer out there representing the workers of Grenada to gain pension for them. It was Deacon Mitchell that was out there harassing the workers of Grenlec, harassing the workers of St. George's University, yeah? And of various hotels and so on as well. He was the one that was being used as the pit bull against the workers of Grenada. So when I see union people go in and play the friendly with him, understand you're dealing with a person that don't like workers. Anybody that could take Claudette Joseph and make her the Minister of Labor don't like workers. That is a slap as much as putting Andy in charge of MIT. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. In everything you say and do it safe and secure. We'll be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. Love you all. Have a wonderful weekend. And again, not quickly, just before I go, let me see if I can pull that up quick. Yeah, just before I go, just the quick reminder of the activities this weekend, right? Let me pull that here and then onto this machine, right? Yeah, remember the meet and greet in St. John, that's taking place in Grand Roy, starting from 2 p.m. on Sunday. Mr. Alvin Dabry will be moving around. The breakfast for St. Andrew Northwest, that's taking place at Birch Grove Community Center tomorrow morning, starting from 6 a.m. And then you're getting breakfast and lunch. So, yeah, you could make a pashu fluffy. Pashu and level up now, man. Yeah, fluffy, ram. Yeah. All the fellas, pashu and fluff up, man. Yeah. And remember, those of you in New York, you've got an Exquisite affair that's happening on Saturday. All right, tomorrow night, starting from 9 p.m. The Honorable Emlyn Pear will be there. Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell will be there. Senator the Honorable Nolan Cox will be there. I'm sure my good friend Nimrod, I'm sure you're going to be around too. I know you, man. I'm sure you done up there already and thing. All right? Yes, indeed. And remember, this one is coming up next week, so we don't have to rush to that one right now. But remember the activities over the weekend and make sure that you do attend if you have the opportunity to do so. Folks, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. Again, in everything you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you, definitely not about you. Love you all. I am out.